Hi, listeners. Just a reminder that all parties mentioned in this episode are innocent until proven guilty. Any opinions given belong to the hosts of Hoosier Case File. Welcome to Hoosier Case File, a podcast that delves into Indiana true crime cases. I'm Mary Quigley.
And I'm Rebecca Wilhelm.
We will be your guides into the tales that have baffled law enforcement and left communities in suspense.
From tranquil cornfields to bustling city streets, Indiana holds untold stories of crime and mystery. Join us as we navigate through the pages of the Hoosier Case File and bring you the stories that have long lingered in the shadows of the Hoosier State.
In each episode, we'll take you on a journey through the cases that continue to puzzle even the most seasoned investigators.
We will discuss the evidence, look at the leads, and invite you along as we speculate on possibilities surrounding these cases.
We will also shine the light on the solved crimes where justice prevailed and the pieces of the puzzle finally came together.
So true crime fans, come along with us as we pursue truth, both in the unsolved and the triumphs of justice.
Grab your cup of coffee as we navigate through the twists and turns of the Hoosier Case File.
Let the investigations begin.
The episode we have for you today is a cold case from Porter County, Indiana.
Saturday, July 2nd, 1966 was a hot and sunny day at the Indiana Dunes National Lakeshore in Porter, Indiana. Three young women, 19-year-old Patricia Blough, 21-year-old Ann Miller, and 19-year-old Renee Bruhl, were spending the day together at the beach. The 4th of July was just around the corner, which meant that the beach was packed with visitors trying to cool themselves in the waters of Lake Michigan. Around noon, the three women were seen getting into a boat with a dark-haired man. A couple who had witnessed the girls leave grew concerned after hours passed with no signs from the women. They contacted a park ranger and informed them that the women had not come back to retrieve their belongings, which included purses, money, and clothing. A search for the missing women turned up nothing except for Ann Miller's 1955 Buick, still parked in the parking lot.
Until we started doing research on this case, I never had heard about it.
I had not either.
Growing up, we spent a lot of time going to the Indiana Dunes.
Well, what's even creepier is that we spent a lot of time going to this particular beach where these young women went missing from.
Let's get into it.
8 a.m. in the morning of July 2nd, 1966, Ann Miller left her home in Lombard, Illinois, to pick her friend Patricia Blough up in Westchester.
Patricia told her mother that the girls were going to pick up their friend Renee Bruhl, and they would be spending their Saturday in Indiana at the Indiana Dunes State Park.
Patricia assured her that they would be back by that evening because Renee Bruhl needed to be home to cook dinner for her husband.
The girls then set out to pick up their friend Renee Bruhl at her home, which was on the west side of Chicago.
At some point on their way to the beach, the girls stopped to purchase suntan lotion from a drugstore.
According to witnesses, the ladies arrived at the dunes around 10 a.m.
The beach was packed that Saturday.
The park is always packed for the 4th of July holiday. I have read some reports that there may have been about 9,000 beachgoers there that Saturday.
According to an NBC Dateline article, the ladies were observed by witnesses, quote, sunning themselves, swimming, and talking.
In that same article, Public Information Officer Captain Ron Galaviz told Dateline in an email that the girls were last seen around noon getting into a white boat with a turquoise interior. The boat was anywhere from 16 to 18 feet long.
Captain Galaviz told Dateline that officials believed that the boat was occupied, quote, by one white male, well-tanned, dark wavy hair, wearing a beach jacket. who appeared to be about 20 to 22 years old.
What I find so creepy is that the girls left everything behind. I mean, everything was left behind.
Yeah, on their beach blanket were clothing, towels, and of course their purses, which contained money.
The park rangers ended up storing the ladies' belongings in the offices for safekeeping. They assumed the ladies would be back to get their things.
On Monday, July 4th, Patricia Blough's father called the park rangers to ask if anyone had seen or heard from his daughter.
This is when park rangers learned that the missing persons reports had been filed for all 3 women in Illinois. They began searching for the women.
Park rangers find Ann Miller's 1955 Buick still in the parking lot where she left it.
The entire beach is searched at this time.
All cabins located were searched.
The Coast Guard is contacted and they conduct a search.
Unfortunately, none of the searches turned up any sign of these 3 missing women.
It's as if they stepped onto the boat with the man and just disappeared off the earth.
In the Dateline article, I was really sad when I read about Patricia Blough's sister, explaining how their father searched desperately for Patricia.
Apparently, Mr. Blough was in the Civil Air Patrol. He would take his plane and fly over the area where Patricia went missing, scanning the area for any clues that were missed.
And that's really heartbreaking for me.
So there have been no signs of the women ever since.
There are a lot of different theories out there about what possibly could have happened.
One of the major theories out there is that Patricia Blough was pregnant.
The rumor is there was either a Chicago doctor or a medical student who were performing illegal abortions out on the waters of Lake Michigan. And some people believe this is what the girls were doing when they got into that boat with the mysterious man.
In the Dateline article, her sister Janice reported that Patricia had told her she was in trouble. Janice knew that Patricia had been dating a married man. However, when Janice asked her if she was pregnant, she told her sister, "I wish it was that easy."
Other theories suggest that it was not Patricia who was pregnant, but possibly one of the other girls.
Many who believe this theory think that maybe something went horribly wrong and the girl who had the abortion passed during the procedure. Of course, witnesses could not be left, so the other 2 were killed to cover up what was done.
In the Dateline article, Captain Galavis said that the abortion theory had been investigated, but that it, quote, could not be substantiated.
Well, according to information on the Charlie Project website, there was another very interesting beach visitor on July 2nd, 1966, Ralph Largo Jr.
For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Charlie Project, it's a website for missing person cold cases.
According to the website, they, quote, do not actively investigate cases. It is merely a publicity vehicle for missing people who are often neglected by the press and forgotten all too soon. A person must have been missing for at least 1 year to be listed.
Ralph Largo Jr. also fits the description of the man seen on the video footage.
So our listeners are probably thinking, why is Ralph Largo Jr. interesting?
Well, his aunt and uncle who lived in Gary were notorious for performing illegal abortions, and Largo lived with them.
We will be back with more theories and a twist on what may have happened after a short break.
So another interesting twist to the mystery occurred when a man who had been taking home movies on the beach that day came forward and offered his footage on reels to the police.
When police viewed the home movie, they saw a similar 16 to 18-foot boat being operated by a man who fit the description made by witnesses. What was even more astounding is that in the video footage, you could clearly see 3 females who matched the missing women perfectly.
Here's where the twist comes in. In the video footage, a second, much larger boat makes an appearance about 3 hours after the first one.
This boat was much larger, 26 to 28 feet long, and it was a cabin cruiser type of ship. It also had antennas for a radio or telephone. Strangely, there was no name printed on this ship.
The video shows the 3 ladies on board, and there are 3 men on board this ship as well. One of the men is the man who had been seen driving the smaller boat.
According to reports, it's believed that the first man dropped the ladies off while he went to get this larger ship and the 2 other men.
Witnesses did later come forward to report seeing the ladies walking around, talking, and even eating lunch between noon and 3 p.m.
There are also some disturbing things that have came out during the investigation. Renee Bruhl was in an unhappy marriage, although her family has repeatedly denied this.
There was a letter found in her purse addressed to her husband where she admits that the marriage was rough and that she doubted her husband's love for her.
So one theory is that the three women just wanted to walk away from their lives and start over.
Many believe that maybe there was a boating accident that left no trace.
It's thought that the three women may have drowned.
There is also a much darker theory out there that ties the women to horse racing and to the Chicago Syndicate.
So two of the women, Patricia Blough and Ann Miller, rode and owned horses.
Patricia's sister Janice told Dateline that her sister had purchased a horse for $1,500. When it started winning, the old owner wanted to buy it back, and Patricia refused. Janice also reported that her sister had confided in her that she was having problems with the horse people.
Janice also reported that Patricia acted off and seemed very scared the day before she went missing. It's also known that the ladies rode their horses at the Tricolor Stables in Palestine, Illinois. The stable was owned by George and Silas Jane.
Now, the Jane brothers, especially Silas, are well-known Chicago criminals. Silas Jane was also a suspect in the disappearance and possible murder of Helen Brock, who had went missing in 1977.
It's also theorized that Mrs. Brock may have been killed over horse racing, although her body has never been found. She was declared dead in 1984.
Strangely, Silas and George Jane's phone numbers, they were found in the women's purses. Silas Jane was rumored to be behind the death of a stable assistant named Cheryl Rood in a car bombing at the stables in 1965. Rood was killed while moving George Jane's car.
At the time, the brothers were in an argument over the horses. It is thought that the bomb had been set up by Silas but intended for George. I find that to be a very strange connection.
It's weird. Many people have wondered if Pat, Renee, and Ann had possibly seen or heard something that they shouldn't have involving the murder of Cheryl Rood, and that they may have been silenced.
According to the Charlie Project website, Silas Jane also reportedly told the sheriff that he had 3 bodies buried under his home.
However, the sheriff was killed in a farm accident before it could be investigated.
How convenient. The lead on that went cold.
I do not know what parts of this story upsets me more. The fact that these ladies went missing from a beach of over 9,000 people,
or the possible connection to a known criminal that was never fully investigated.
The whole thing is just very odd, and honestly, it's really upsetting.
The case is still considered open, although it is a cold case at this point.
Someone out there has to know something.
The families deserve some kind of closure.
I agree with you.
This is still an open case, but has unfortunately remained unsolved. I also think it's really important to point out that Ralph Largo Jr. nor his family have ever been charged with anything regarding the case.
Yeah, it's all been speculation and rumors for now.
If you have any information about the missing women, please contact the Indiana State Police at 219-269-4747 or the Westchester, Illinois Police Department at 708-345-0060.
What do you think happened to the vanishing women of the Dunes State Park? Are you familiar with this cold case? We would love to hear about it. Please send us an email to hoosiercasefile@gmail.com or reach out to us on social media. We may use it in a later episode. In the email, let us know if you wish to remain anonymous. To see our source material, please visit our website, www.hoosiercasefile.com. Please find us and follow us on Facebook or on Instagram. Hoosier Case File is a Quigley Productions podcast.
Our theme song was written and recorded by Earl G. Wilhelm.
Stay safe, everyone.